All right, this is Frank Weitz, and I am going to read Timewarped. Timewarped, oh, the truth is out there, and so am I. Copyright F. Scott Weitz. Not the same old shit, shocking but true. Fuck the politically correct. Trump this, Democrats are dumb, Republicans suck. Seriously. Humorous, too honest not to be believed. Do away with the CIA. Racist? My pale white ass. Alien insights. Drug-induced originality. Perverted? Hell yes. Irreverent to say the least. LGBTQ approved. Intelligent. Absolutely warped. Very short. L'chaim. Dump the Donald in 2020, a clear vision for a more democratic America. Make America less ridiculous again. America, we must do what must be done. We must identify the government employees who do what must be done, and we must cut them from our historic hearts. We must pursue, persecute, prosecute, and punish these people to purge ourselves and our progeny of their poisonous perfidy. Politicians, present, past, and future, spies in the service and in their graves, military heroes, ex or extant, must be diminished, dishonored, and disavowed. Ask the puppet president of South Vietnam to postpone peace talks until after our election. Prosecute the perpetrator. Break into the election headquarters of the opposition party in an effort to steal an election. Prosecute. Ask the mad mullah in Iran to hold the hostages until the Democrat in power has been defeated, and set up a scheme by which a payoff can be arranged by trading guns for cocaine. Prosecute. Allow a foreign government to spread lies about a political opponent to sway our election. Prosecute. Spread lies ourselves to sway another's election. Prosecute. Assassinate the duly elected leader of a country to further the interests of America abroad. Prosecute. America has become to what is acceptable alien. We must cleanse ourselves of the putrid patriotic stench of the homegrown heroes who have done and will continue to do what must be done for the good of all the innocent little asswipes at home. We must cease to be the innocent little asswipes who allow evil in our names to flourish in our country. My fellow Americans, we owe it to ourselves, to our children, and to all the other pompous little pissants being mind-fucked and manipulated by men of vision and valor everywhere, to stand up and do what must be done now. But, warning, there is something in this book to offend everyone. If you read this book and you are not at some point offended, then either you employed speed reading and thus missed that which is contrary to your judgmental and jaundiced nature, or you are a simple sucker and are therefore incapable of being offended. Hell, I'm mildly offended at my own insolence and audacity from time to time. If you are a liberal Jewish homosexual and you are terribly offended by this material, you are a crybaby. You should not be so offended. Put the book down, you whining, fucked up, and go call your mommy so that you may bask in that utterly biased adulation which you so richly deserve. And sugezunt, seriously, you are a turd, but I love you. If you're a tight-assed, white-assed Christian conservative, this warning is unreservedly for you. This work was designed to offend you. I don't like you. Don't read it. Most of you fine folks who are somewhere between hyper-quasi-liberal and torture everyone who isn't a precise replica of me conservative should, for the most part, except for the relatively few moments you find yourself shuddering in abject horror enjoy a very unique piece of literature that is honestly too strange and inimically real to realistically be considered by one of the conventional publishing firms. There might be someone in that cloistered and sometimes claustrophobic world desirous of so doing, but I doubt it. Political correctors and blasphemy detectors will both find ample need to call in their inspectors. I am the freest thinker you may ever find. Upon my knees, head in the clouds, I seek to blow your mind. You won't agree with everything I say. I know it's true. I say feel free to think as others wish, or go to where stand none but you. My black friends, of course, think this book is racist, but seriously, black people in America think everything is racist. Maybe when I achieve that degree of perfection which only death engenders, someone with the will to do so will so do, i.e. publish that which is to both those who are liberal and those who are conservative controversial, to say the least. If this book has been published, the publisher has big balls, and I may have fondled them reverently to close the deal. I'll never tell. But in the meantime, rejoice in the peculiar fact that you've somehow gotten a hold of this weird work of fearsome fancy and read it. If you love it, contact me to tell me all about it. If not, don't bother. I'm old and the men in my family tend to die early, so good news is the only kind, other than that which comes from a medical doctor I won't assiduously ignore. Most sincerely, me. Zu gesund in Yiddish means to your health. That is yours truly, one iteration thereof. And this is Free Willy. With tongue in cheek, my tongue, her cheek, she cried, don't put that there, for if you keep on pulling at it, my lips you're bound to tear. I slipped a lip and got a grip, her underwear did tear. I exclaimed, does that darn thing have teeth? I feel that I'm ensnared. She proclaimed, I shaved it just for you to show I really cared. But now I see, man, how you are. You're kinky. You're weird. It's true, I said, broke into tears. I wanted to get laid. Well, if you do, she said, now, boo, I'll expect to be well paid. I pitched a fit and pinched at it. I brought it to its knees. I was quite wrong, but it turned her on. She said, no, and stop, and please. But she really didn't mean it. I was so darn confused. But I know I get quite strange at times. I wish to be gently abused. Why should I think the less of her? Each should do what each may choose. So I got her to sign the standard release, though of course she at first refused. Oh, but now we are so happy. I spank her for I mount. Oh, and she is so pleased with the way I tease. She gives me a discount. Yes, you really must question everything. Be brave that you may deserve to be free, America. Restore the reputation of our country, Americans. Make your personal reputation something altogether more interesting, tight ass. Ah, yes, and now a synopsis of Timewarped. Copyright F. Scott Weitz. After the CIA nuked Albuquerque at the onset of the 22nd century, a tear in time-space opened up over Gallup, New Mexico. When the little green men from their redoubt inside the Red Rock stumbled upon the anomaly, they immediately harnessed it, adding the apparatus which enables time travel. Intergalactic tourism, as well as ultra-toxic waste disposal, took off, and profits simply soared. But DQ Trump, a 7th series clone of the great man and president of the Confederate States of America, the rest of us American citizens actually encouraged the South to secede this time, believes that if the rip can be wrenched from the paws of the little probing perverts in possession thereof, then there is a higher purpose to which it may be put. Will the wrongs of the past be righted? Can the South rise again if it never fell to begin with? Is God Almighty the true arbitrator of events earthly? Will those damn Navajos actually throw in with the little fuckers from Fakakta 4? Posthumous Putin, the sentient cyborg of another great man, will be positively pissed if that occurs. Or will he? Find out, you free-willing freak from the whacked-out weirdo who penned this preposterous pile of postulations, perverse and probative, i.e. me, Frank Weitz. And as always, speed reading is for silly sots who will never see the sense between the sentences. Don't do it. Rate Me, Nirvana, Walk on the Wild Side, Lou Reed, Bad Romance, yes, that too. Lady Gaga, Submission, the Sex Pistols, Obla Di Obla Da, an oldie but a goodie, the Beatles, S&M Rihanna, Sweet Dreams, Eurythmics, Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll, Ian Dury, right. And now, Chapter 1. Time Warp Chapter 1, La Otra Entrada, from the desktop of Martin Mishra, mid-23rd century AD, CE, early 61st SW. The Zikfukians, or Zikfukers, had traveled from the stars, specifically from the fourth planet in orbit around the star we call Tau Ceti, and they call Mogan Major, or Schmuck, to trade toilet paper for turquoise in what is, or was, or would be, depending upon your time of origin, Gallup, New Mexico. While it was still part of Old Mexico, possibly Spain, but before it was the New Mexico territory, I think. They may actually have been here long before this. Zikfukers are a little hard to understand at the best of times, and they have a tendency to become moody or downright obstreperous for reasons incomprehensible to the average earthling. At these times, they are incomprehensible to the average earthling. No shit, literally. Toilet paper for turquoise. See a hole, plug a hole, or find an indigenous population, exploit an indigenous population, depending on your particular point of view. Wiping your ass for a member of the local peoples, Navajo Indians in this case, at the time they, the Zikfukers, began the enterprise, was both difficult and prone to engendering embarrassment, given the limited supply of grass and or leaves in the nearly desert environment. There were and are few deciduous trees at any distance from the very limited sources of water, and not much cover in proximity to the available grass. There are plenty of large rocks to hide one's behind, but sandy gravel is an absolutely inadequate medium for the non-abrasive cleansing of the gluteal cleft. So the Zikfukers, after harvesting much of the plentiful sagebrush in the area, turned it into toothpaste or a substance similar, then through a patented process, turned that paste into paper made in the good old US of A, sort of. These bits in between, which I recommend not reading during narration, will absolutely lend something to the narrative when read. This one, for instance, describing why Zikfukers won't explain their patented process. They are reticent, if not positively pissed off, when asked to describe the details of poo-poo paper production, i.e. the manufacture of that which was and or is intended to wipe waste from the wazoos of warriors, is well worth keeping in the body of the text, whether it is read or not. Not read in this particular case until now, because it helps the narrative flow along smoothly. And if an editor in the future wishes to take it out altogether, then take it out altogether. See if I care. Of course, when the CIA nuked Albuquerque at the onset of the 22nd century and the tear or bulge or whatever in space-time developed over Gallup, the Zick-Fookers turned their entrepreneurial efforts to interstellar tourism and toxic waste storage. Let's face it, asswipes for Indians was a pretty lame idea to begin with, and although that rip in space-time would prove far more trouble than these zickest Zick-Fookers could have imagined, it did keep shit truly interesting. For a time. Footnotes: La entrada, the Spanish entrance upon a soon-to-be blessed, i.e. slaughtered and or converted Native American population. Otra means other in Spanish. No, I don't hate Hispanic people. My wife is Mexican-American, and my youngest son is a white Mexican. My oldest boys are white Samoans, making them black, yellow, and white. Because I swirl, boys and girls. Meshuggah means crazy in Yiddish. Mogan means star. And if I get any of this shit wrong, don't jump all over me, Jews. I was raised a Gentile. I'm actually quite white. Plus, I'm old, though still able to get it up without medical assistance. Sometimes, and the men in my family die relatively young. Feign a little respect. If I get anything else wrong, or with some point you have an issue, ignore it, or write me a nice note. I'll be dead soon, you insensitive boob. Schmuck or putz. These are the preferred spellings right here. Although I spelled them differently in the body of the text to make them easier to pronounce, easier to recognize. They are, of course, two taboo words in Yiddish meaning penis and referring to an ass. SW, I devised to mean still waiting. It has a corresponding Hebrew calendar date on it. Jews do not believe that the Savior has yet come to earth. You Christians have only been waiting for 2,000 years for the sucker to turn up again. Jews have been waiting for a lot longer than that. And here, as I stated earlier, portions of the manuscript in embedded blue, i.e. blue shaded words among the black print, or blue within red, as earlier, or red within blue, as sometimes occurs, should be skipped when narrating this work. Embedded red with the majority of the text black, maybe red, or left unread. You decide. Okay. Random rant number 1. This is the non-fictional portion of the text, where I get to say what I think about reality, and you get to laugh at it. Politicians and policemen must be held accountable for their actions unless we aspire to be Russia or Texas. Watch the watchers. If they ain't doing nothing wrong, they won't have nothing to worry about. As brainwashed conservative dipshits across the South love to point out to the pot-smoking populace, those licentious liberal layabouts occupying anywhere other than dear old Dixie. Whenever individual freedoms are, by the police and the politicians, being traded in for random roadside searches, rubber-stamped warrants, and the God-given right of American heroes to keep our country safe from those who refuse to buckle up. An extra little bit for your mental enjoyment. Pure evil is a figment of a merely good imagination. I came up with that one. It's pretty good. I like that. It makes sense. Think about it. Thinking is a good thing. And here, an opening to the tribes. From broken, beleaguered, captive men came songs now thought divine. This is not that. I could not lie to the few here left behind. But if you listen carefully, you'll hear, not perhaps from many, that these words sung in this tongue strange would fill the ears of any with something akin to a hearkening, a promise of a kind, that only in a golden land, not of earth but of the mind, may one endeavor to set another free, so that one may too become, and multiply, I pray, in time to find us in the sun. I hearken to a chosen few, for in a hostile land I am, and would I be free that this shibboleth might pass from out my hand. In the presence now of something more than one can ever be, I pray you bring these words in you to life, that from this I may be free.